joining today's webinar. I'm Andrew Campbell-Edie. I'm the Communications Manager at the Irish Centre for Diversity. I'm a black man. My pronouns are he, him. I have close cropped hair on my head, otherwise known as bald, and a black moustache. I'm wearing spectacles and a black turtleneck top. I'm in front of a white virtual background with the logo for the Irish Centre for Diversity and our colour triangle branding. We recently held the National Diversity and Inclusion Awards 2025 to recognise and celebrate the valuable work being done to progress diversity and inclusion in Ireland. This webinar series has been devised to share the insights and experiences from the sponsor, the winner, and the finalists, so that any learnings can be applied to your organisation or to help with entering the next award cycle. Today's session focuses on the category Employee of the Year Award. This category recognises an individual who goes the extra mile to champion diversity and inclusion over and above their day job. A quick word about our sponsor, who actually couldn't join us today, so I'm doing the full hosting duties. Our sponsor is Bauer Media Audio Ireland, and they operate some of Ireland's best-known audio and radio brands, including Today FM, News Talk, Spin, Beat, and many others across the country. The business has the mission of enriching the lives of every person in the country, and to achieve this mission, Bauer views inclusion of all people, both in the workplace and in their communities, as essential to their way of working and creating content. Some housekeeping before we start. I'll shortly introduce some of our finalists and invite them to share some of their D&I work, and end with the award winner, wrapping up in about an hour. We're joined today by Catherine White, our ISL interpreter. The session is being recorded and will shortly be available on the Irish Centre for Diversity website. Everyone is muted except the panel. Please share any comments in the chat function. We'd love to hear, to start with, which organisations you're joining us from. And there isn't time for Q&As, but you might get answers to any questions that you have by connecting with any of the panelists on LinkedIn. Before we start, it's important to mention that Bauer Media Audio, in common with all the other sponsors and the Irish Centre for Diversity, had no part in the judging process, and the sponsors couldn't enter themselves. So I'm very much looking forward to hearing about all of the great work that's being done for the first time. Also, I must say that scheduling means that a few of the shortlisted finalists are unable to join us today, but making it as a National Diversity and Inclusion Award finalist is a great achievement, and I would like to read out the judges' comments to share any learnings from their experience and activities, just so that we can, and also acknowledge their achievement. Our first finalist is Jane Barrett, and she's Senior Associate at William Fry LLP. The judges congratulated Jane on sharing her lived experience of disability to break down barriers for others in the legal sector. She is central to the appointing of a disability liaison officer at William Fry and has elevated the firm's understanding of disability. Congratulations to Jane for making it as a shortlisted finalist. Our next finalist to acknowledge, who also couldn't make it today, is Colette Wallace, and she's Senior Management PPMO and Governance at Carelon Global Solutions. Colette has been described as an invaluable force in transforming Carelon's culture since joining the company. Her impact extends far beyond her immediate responsibilities, creating a ripple effect of positive change that touches every corner of the team and in the wider organisation. So very well done to both Colette and Jane. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome our third finalist, Kieran Butler from Board Namona. The judges were impressed with Kieran's resilience and leadership. His work has had a positive impact on Board Namona's culture and inspires others to take an active role in promoting inclusion. So welcome, Kieran. Kieran, my first question to you before you introduce yourself is, Kieran, you were praised for your personal advocacy and ability to foster allyship. What does allyship mean to you? And you're on mute.
You see that, Andrew? Thank you. So allyship for me, I suppose, is bringing solutions and not problems to the table. Look, I suppose I'm a white male. My pronouns are he, him. I have short brown hair. I'm cleanly shaven and I wear color tinted glasses. They're not rose tinted, mind you, as I have a right eye visual impairment, which I acquired in 2022. So I'm in front of a virtual background of a bright sky with solar panels and the sun shining brightly on them. And that background has the green logo of my company, Board Namona, featured on it. So look, I'm a health and safety officer in Board Namona, and part of my role has always been about helping people. So in terms of your question on allyship, I suppose it's, as I said, bringing solutions to the table. Since I had my own visual impairment, I came across a lot of challenges, both personally and professionally. I was off work for a long time as a result of a health issue. And when I came back to work, I had to look at reasonable accommodations and how I could get back into work. So I suppose really what I've been doing is just telling my own story in my place of work. Some of the things we've done, we've set up a disability inclusion resource group. So it's called Beyond Limits. So I am the chairman of that group. And within that group, I've got lots of allies who joined that team to help me, but also to help other people in the organization with disabilities. So I suppose really we are doing a lot of different things. We've our ED&I committee within the company. We've our mental health ambassador program. And look, I've just been telling my story, I suppose, and it seems to have resonated with people in the organization. I've been telling a lot about how I got into paracycling, I suppose, a part of my journey of recovery. That helped me with my own mental health when I was struggling with the physical and mental aspects of what happened to me. And so people have been following my journey within the company, and Board Namona kindly sponsored me in the Irish Paracycling Championship last year.
I missed a part of what you said. Did you say you acquired your disability while you were at Board Namona, or was it before?
So no, it happened to me in 2022. So I've been at Board Namona I'm in my 8th year with Board Namona now. So I was working full time as a health and safety officer out on construction projects, and I was out for 12 months due to I had a blood clot on the brain is what happened to me, and that caused optical nerve damage to my right eye.
And did you find, I suppose you'd built up personal connections before the incident, or sorry, before the condition, but did you find that attitudes changed in any way, or um, did your advocacy come about? Well, obviously, did attitudes to you change afterwards?
No, I would say
Um,
the attitude has always been good in the company. I suppose I had a lot of relationships built over the years before it happened to me, and then I just disappeared all of a sudden because I was very ill. And one of the reasons I had to explain when I came back to all my colleagues where I was for 12 months, because I'd been off for that length of time getting medical treatment. So that kind of gave me an introduction at to talk to people about what had happened to me.
right.
And talking about my disability as a result of what happened and how the challenges I came across in the workplace and at home was quite easy then, because I had a way of bringing it into conversation with people. So that's just what I've been doing. I've been talking openly about it. I spoke this year at the International Day for Disability about the challenges I had from a mental health perspective, but also just about dealing with a physical impairment that's hidden, so nobody can see it. Like, you don't look at me and think I have a disability, but I deal with that disability every day. Every time I walk into a room, lights and stuff like that really affect me. So I've just been explaining that to people, and I think that's one of the key things about allyship is people will become allies if they understand the challenges. I think a lot of the time people don't understand what people might be the perspective of the person who's actually having that challenge. So that's just, I suppose, part of what I've been trying to do. And
Yeah, that advocacy piece is so important, isn't it? It's so valuable and so powerful. You know, people, it's quite difficult sometimes to grasp ideas when they're in the abstract, but when it's a person in front of you and you can make that human connection, it just hits harder, doesn't it? I think.
yeah, and
So
I
it's
think
great work that you're doing there.
Yeah, we've had lots of speakers in externally from different organizations and personalities in the space, and I think for some reason the personal stories seem to be resonating more in our company because people know. They know what I was like before this happened to me, and they know what other people. So we've had other colleagues as well who are carers for people in wheelchairs at home and different things. So they've been joining us on the Beyond Limits group. So within that group, we've been hosting days where we've had fireside chats and stuff like that within the company. And we rolled out disability awareness training then last year for all our managers and supervisors to give them the perspective of what it's like to manage somebody with a disability. On top of that, then we also last year we joined up with Ahead Ireland and we introduced a mentoring program. So we have brought in some graduates this year now for the first time who have a disability. So I've become a mentor to one of those as well. So we're doing a lot in the space at the moment and trying to push it as best we can to be as inclusive as we can.
Right. Sounds like lots of strings to Boardnamona's bow there. So that's great. Great to hear. Okay, thank you for that. I might come back to you if we have time later on because there's some great points you raised there, especially the whole area of, not every disability is visible, and it's so important for that message to get across to people that accommodations are put in place for universally for everybody and not just for the ones that you can see. So it's great to have that message, and we might, as I said, I might come back to that later on. If I'm allowed, I'd just like to move on then to our third finalist, who is Tatiana Titus, and she joins us today from Explio Technology. Just before I introduce Tatiana or hand over to Tatiana, I'd like to just give some of the judges' comments about Tatiana's incredible work. The judges said that Tatiana's incredible enthusiasm and passion for diversity and inclusion, her involvement in Pride, sustainability initiatives, and mentorship was really impressive. So, Tatiana, just picking up on one aspect of your nomination, Tatiana, you launched an internal mentoring program where underrepresented colleagues can be paired with leaders for career guidance. It has led to a 15% increase in promotions for women and minority groups within the company over the past year. Please tell us much more about this mentoring program, Tatiana.
Perfect. Well, first, thank you very much for the introduction, Andrew, and good morning to everybody on the call. My name is Tatiana Titus, and I work as an HR business partner at Explio Technology, which is an IT consulting firm. I have an indistinct kind of blurred background, and I'm wearing a black and white turtleneck sweater. I don't think you can actually see the white, but there is white on it. And it's really a pleasure to be here today alongside all the other Employee of the Year finalists. So thank you very much. But just to go back to your question regarding the mentoring program. So I designed and implemented a Bolder U mentoring program nearly 3 years ago now. And that stemmed from an initiative from our Gender Balance ERG. And really it was to provide underrepresented employees with mentorship from senior management. And I'm really proud to say that since its launch, the program has grown year on year, and it continues to make a really significant impact in our organization, including, as you called out, increasing promotions for women and other minority groups. The program actually started, the first phase was a pilot, so it started with 12 participants, so that's 6 pairs. And it's expanded to 40 participants in the latest phase, which is 20 pairs. And I think the growing demand highlights the value that employees place on receiving structured support and guidance from more senior colleagues to, I suppose, aid their career development within the organization. And if I look at a recent analysis of the program, because we just concluded the third phase or the third tranche of the program, this included both qualitative and quantitative feedback. It revealed that across all 3 cohorts, we actually had an average of 50% of participants who were promoted after completing the program. So while your statistic probably focused on women specifically, it's important to note that the program is open to all employees who have greatly benefited from it. Now, I always say this, is that while the link between mentoring and career, the career progression isn't entirely causal, we all know that motivated and ambitious individuals are more likely to seek out these opportunities. I think the data from the feedback suggests there's a strong correlation between participation in the program and the promotion outcomes that we see there. Now, In addition to the mentoring program, because as you called it in the introduction there, my work isn't limited to just that. I'm really proud of an ongoing partnership with Work Equal that I launched last year, which is a charity that's dedicated to helping individuals from diverse and underrepresented backgrounds secure employment in Ireland. They work primarily with women, though it is open to all individuals of any gender. Their work is really, really transformative, and I've been so privileged to participate in their mission by offering pro bono coaching and career advisory services to their clients. Over the past year, I worked directly with 10 women, providing coaching, CV reviews, interview preparation, and general kind of career guidance. Of these 10 individuals I worked with last year, about 8 of them have successfully secured employment. And to me, this success rate is really meaningful because it reflects both the hard work of the individuals in the program and the value of having the right mentorship and support when you're looking for employment, and the value that we, as particularly in my industry as HR professionals, that we can give to the wider community. But this experience has really been a two-way street, because I always say, you know, whether we're mentoring or coaching, it is reciprocal learning. I'm not the only one giving value, but they're giving me value. While I've been able to support participants, I've also grown professionally through this experience. My work with the Boulder U Mentoring Program and Work Equal inspired me to formalize my coaching and expertise, and it led to me completing the coaching and mentoring diploma with Kingstown College in late 2023. And then since then, I've achieved practitioner level accreditation, coaching accreditation with the European Mentoring Council. So this was just in October 2024. And having this formalized training, I suppose, ensures that I use the most effective techniques when I'm guiding others, whether it be in the mentoring program or with Work Equal clients. And then in terms of the Work Equal, you know, the partnership there and my work with the mentoring program extends beyond, I suppose, you know, individual success stories. Really, these programs really aim to drive systemic change. And I think that when we empower individuals to advance their careers, whether it be both within, you know, my organization, Ixleo, or externally, you know, I'm contributing to building a more inclusive workforce, which I think creates the biggest impact when we look, you know, across the wider society. And then if I may continue, if we have time.
Please do.
You touched on the diversity and inclusion work that I've done within the organization. So like we said, you know, the mentoring and coaching has been a really core focus for me. It's like where my passion really lies. My work in D&I spans, you know, across several initiatives. I'm heavily involved in a number of employee resource group, including what you called out there, the LGBTQ+ and the sustainability ERG. And, you know, with my collaboration with them as the HR sponsor, we've achieved significant milestones in the last year, such as being certified as a Dublin Pride partner. And we also received the Silver Mark accreditation from the National Transport Authority. So that's through their Smarter Travel Workplace program, if I got that right. In terms of the LGBT initiatives with the group, I support them to organize key events. So that includes our annual participation in the Dublin Pride Parade, where I always say 50 of us, you know, proudly march down O'Connell Street to demonstrate our support and commitment to the LGBTQ+ community. I also played a key role in having the team, like I said, certified as Dublin Pride partners. That means we've been partnering with them for a number of years. We completed all their Pride at Work training. Last year, we hosted several workshops that are organized on allyship and family equality. And then, of course, this year with the 10 years of marriage equality on the horizon, we'll be doing a lot to kind of mark that significant milestone, as well as, you know, walking history tours of Dublin during Pride Month. And if anybody isn't aware of this opportunity, because I thought that it was a great thing that Dublin Pride offer this walking tour. It's really, really valuable because it's a unique opportunity to educate employees about the history of the LGBTQ+ movement in Dublin specifically, and its ongoing relevance today, using city landmarks to kind of bring the story to life for attendees. So, you know, definitely reach out to Dublin Pride if you'd like to experience something like that, because it's great, and we'll be running it again this year. From the sustainability perspective, I focused on making impact within the workplace and outside of the workplace, so within our wider community. I lead our annual tree planting event, which takes place at Dunsany Estate. I organize quarterly family-friendly hikes for anybody who'd like to participate. I lead many greener office initiatives, such as, we replaced all our plastic water bottles in the office with those Tetra Paks. We eliminated disposable coffee cups from our coffee dogs. And recently, last week, I launched a return charity scheme in the office. So that just means people can place all their plastic bottles and cans that they use maybe for their lunch when they go out to get it. And we collect that and we donate it to charity. And then I also oversee our monthly Royal Canal cleanup, where we go out in our local community and we pick up litter. And then, of course, in support of our Smarter Travel Workplace program, like I said, we got the silver accreditation. I would partner with them to do their annual kind of events that they have. They have a calendar of events. So, for example, we do the step challenges. So this month we're participating in Marchathon, and of course, not only does that help with employee health and well-being, but it also promotes more sustainable commuting practices. Now, just to close, I'm really passionate about these initiatives, and it's really important to note that I suppose the DE&I work complements my full-time role as an HR business partner, and I closely collaborate with a wide range of diverse stakeholders. I support over 250 employees in the organization, but also for me personally, this work allows me to stay true to my values. If I look back at my university days, which feels like a lifetime ago, I have a background in women and gender studies and political science. I double majored in both. So integrating these initiatives into my role and also the wider company really gives me an opportunity to stay authentic to myself while contributing overall to the business strategy and, of course, to the success of the organization. So I always say to people, yes, it is possible to have it all if you really want it and put the work in. So just in my final parting words, and as you can tell, I am a talker. I love talking, whether it be through mentoring, coaching, work equal clients, or supporting the ERGs. I suppose my aim is always the same, which is to create a workplace where everybody feels valued, where everybody feels included, and of course, where everybody feels empowered to reach their potential. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It's very clear to see how you managed to wow the judges with your, as they put it, incredible enthusiasm and passion. That's coming through in spades. And I'll feel like a real couch potato when I'm just watching the White Lotus on the sofa, thinking of all the work that you're doing. Thank you very much for that, Tatiana. And I love the part you opened up with around the data and the need to measure results and feed that back and show the worth of what you're doing over and above the personal development and personal fulfillment and all those other nice things.
And that's it. I think that if you want to get buy-in from your senior management team, you need to be data-driven. You need to be able to show the impact of all the different initiatives, because if you just go to them as, oh, this is a nice to have, softy, you won't progress very far. Whereas if you have the data backing you up, it's fact, and it's a lot easier to kind of get buy-in for the different things you'd like to achieve, I suppose.
Absolutely right. Plenty of that. Plenty in your response that I'll come back to if we have time. So, but in the meantime, thank you very much for that, Tatiana, and congratulations again. Okay, I'm going to move us on to our next finalist. Welcome, Dr. Aidan Walsh from Southeast Technological University. Some comments from the judges about Dr. Walsh. Dr. Walsh was highly commended in this category for his tireless advocacy that has revolutionized the experience of individuals with disabilities within the university. Having acquired a disability at a young age, he has excelled both academically and professionally, and generously shares knowledge and time to improve the lives of both staff and students with disabilities. Aidan, Dr. Walsh, what did being nominated by the college mean to you?
Thanks, Andrew.
And I must say, before you answer that, it's a great accolade and great achievement to be acknowledged by your peers and the people that you work with. So congratulations on the nomination and on being highly commended. So back to the question. Sorry, what does being nominated by the college mean to you?
Thanks, Andrew. I've been a part of the SUTU community for 33 years. So I was in Waterford Institute of Technology as a student when I acquired my disability in 1992. And I suppose it's just, it's really rewarding to get that recognition from your peers that, you know, you've been making a contribution and you've been trying to move things along and trying to make a progressive approach towards inclusion and advancing. I suppose just for the purposes of the webinar, I just wanted to directly answer your question. I'll introduce myself as an Irish white male with brown green here at this stage, and I'm wearing a navy pullover and a check shirt, and I'm sitting in front of the navy grey Southeast Technological University background with the white SETU logo. Yeah, so I suppose I've been trying to make contributions since acquiring my disability at an early age. I have a high-level spinal injury, which resulted in, you know, approximately 75% paralysis, so paralyzed from the shoulders down, with full paralysis of the hands and partial paralysis of the arms. And as you can imagine, it was a substantial change at the time, and I certainly wouldn't have been able to deal with that change without support of you know, family, friends, but also like the community at Waterford Institute of Technology and now at Southeast Technological University. You know, really was like a second home to me. You know, I was a student when I acquired that disability, and the lecturers reached out to me and said, "Listen, come back, engage with your studies. We'll do everything we can to support you. If you ever need help, you know, you have the mobile phone numbers of the portering staff, and you can reach out and you can give someone a call and they give you assistance if you need it." And it's just to have that support background behind you is just fantastic. So it was really an honor just to get recognition and be nominated by my peers. So you know, I'm really positive. Try and have a positive attitude and try and promote inclusivity wherever I can. Been involved in a number of organizations providing support for people with disabilities. Almost immediately after I acquired my disability, I would have got involved in those organizations. One of the founding members of the Centre of Independent Living in Waterford, and served on the board there for a number of years. And really, you know, I suppose I learned a lot from engaging in those organizations, and then I've tried to bring that into my own workplace as well and be an advocate and voice for the disabled. And, you know, basically, really proud to be a part of the community and to try and advance that. My work, I'm a lecturer in SETU, and I do research, carry out research as well. In the areas of operational excellence and lean enterprise excellence. And the two central pillars of that work would be respect for people and continuous improvement. And I try and bring that into any of the equality, diversity and inclusion work that I do, which is try to respect each individual's situation and viewpoint, and then always be trying to nudge I suppose the capabilities of both myself and the organization, and try and nudge it forward so you're improving all the time, and taking that approach of kind of making things a little bit better every day and trying to get that involved. I suppose my work in the most recently in SETU, myself and a colleague, Professor Dennis Harrington, applied, put in an application for the University Equality, Diversity and Inclusion Fund that they run to support EDI initiatives. And we would have put an application to establish the SETU Disability Network, and were successful in that application. And that's been running now for approximately about 2 years. And what we're trying to achieve there is to create, like some of the individuals that have already been talking, we're trying to create awareness around, I suppose, the lived experience of people with disabilities, because some disabilities are visible and some are not so visible. And even like my own disability, yeah, look, you can see I'm a wheelchair user, and you can see I have difficulties getting around and so on because of my paralysis. But there's also aspects to my disability that would be hidden that people wouldn't be aware of. And, I just see it as an opportunity then to create that awareness in the minds of decision makers. And so when they are making decisions around inclusion, they've got a more broad perspective and, can draw from that and help them, inform their decision making. So we've got awareness, we've got a bit of advocacy in terms of, we organize events and bring different individuals to a larger audience, and they can talk about their lived experience of disabilities, but also other organizations that support the disabled community and give them an opportunity to speak about their experiences and their services and what they're trying to achieve with their organizations. And really it's about creating, the disability network, a sense of community and a sense of support for students, staff with disabilities. And in many cases as well, try and work with other colleagues. We've got fantastic colleagues at SCTU that run various initiatives. So they'd be just blown away by colleagues in the EDI office, relatively small team and the amount of work that they do, with the integrity that they do it, and the real passion for making a positive change. It's just been fantastic to be involved with that work. And, and being involved in that work then has brought me into contact with the broader network, including people here today. Just really proud to be part of sharing this webinar, and also in the award ceremony, sharing the award ceremony with so many wonderful people and amazing organizations, just really trying to make a positive improvement in their organizations and for the broader community. And for me, that's what it's all about. I mean, I'm I suppose hungrily devouring ideas that I'm going to steal from the other presenters already. So Kieran and Tatiana have already got my grey cogs spinning, and at the next network committee they'll be telling me to slow down, maybe too many ideas there. So thanks to everyone else for sharing their stories as well. But for me, it rests on those two central pillars, just to be respectful of people and to strive for continuous improvement, and try and make things better. It strikes me that, every organization's EDI efforts are on a continuum. Okay, and it's trying to get past that, further up that continuum, past compliance, striving for best practice, and just trying to drive the organization forwards as best as you can.
Right.
And try and support others,
Yeah, very powerful words to end on. And I'm really blown away by your nomination, because I know the team down at SETU, the EDI unit that you mentioned. We sponsored an award down in Waterford, the Waterford Chamber of Commerce, and I think SETU won that. So I know that they do some amazing work down there, and for that team to nominate you as and advocate for you is a great accolade. So congratulations.
Yeah,
I'm gonna. Sorry, go ahead.
Say, Andrew, look, it's a team effort. I got the nomination. Sometimes I feel it's not deserved. What I do in this work is just a small piece in addition to my broader work. But no, the Alison and the team at SCTU Waterford, and also colleagues in SCTU Carlow, they just do fantastic work.
It's very humble of you to say thank you. I'm sure they'll congratulate you, join me in congratulating you on your nomination. Something you touched on there is the whole human aspect, the human connection aspect, and the storytelling, and just being present, and the representation that you bring is so powerful, especially amongst the people that you touch. And I'm specifically thinking about the students, who are the captains of industry, are the employees, are the team members that go forward in workplaces, they're the pipeline. So if they have the awareness that you bring, and they have your story, it's just so powerful going forward for D&I across Ireland. So thank you very much for that.
Yeah, no.
Okay, sorry, go ahead.
Well, yeah, just to say thank you, Andrew. I agree with that. Yeah, thank you.
Right. Okay. Phew, we're on the same page there. Okay. Our final finalist today is our winner, and she is Gay O'Connor from Solace. Congratulations, Gay. Just before I bring you in, I'd just like to give the judges' comments. The judges described Gay as a truly exceptional person, championing diversity and inclusion in Solace and supporting the most marginalized people in our society. Gay's work brings dignity, connection, and a sense of purpose to those that society has turned away from. Amazing words from our judges there. Gay, you described your work as having changed you profoundly. Can you please elaborate on this? It sounds like there's quite a message to share here.
Thanks, Andrew. Yes. My name is Gay O'Connor. I work in Solace. I am a white female and have short brown hair with hazel eyes. Today I'm wearing a pink and grey top and a dark grey cardigan. So just to answer your question, when I started this work 6 years ago, I didn't see where it would take me today. Solace as an organisation gives you the time and support to do other things beside your job. I actually work in the ICT and digital unit, and 6 years ago, we had a Solace Workplace Choir, and we were asked to do a TEDx talk in Mountjoy Prison in April 2019. So our choir went in and we were asked to sing with the men in the choir. We did this, and after, it was a one-day event, we just did a TEDx talk, and we were kind of the interval acts doing the singing. Then we went in every week after that, every Wednesday, to do a choir practice with our choir director and the choir director in the Mountjoy prison. So over time, we built up a rapport with the men in the prison. There were a lot of processes in trying to get into the Mountjoy every week, as you can imagine, trying to get into the Irish Prison Service. So we had to jump through a few hoops and do a lot of things to try and get in there every week. So we did a lot of events with the Mountjoy men. The choir, the Solace Choir and the Mountjoy Choir came together, and we joined one choir singing together. So we did Christmas concerts every year for friends and family of the In-House Harmony, is the name of the choir now. So we did Christmas concerts together. We recorded a CD and raised over €30,000 for the Dublin Simon community. We sang for the American ambassador. We did Johnny Cash anniversary. We sang with Jessie Buckley, and this year we were an opening ceremony of the NIME 9 Symposium on Music and Incarceration. We were in an opening ceremony for DCU on behalf of them. So this led to myself and my colleague being invited over to Copenhagen to talk about our work with the Irish Prison Service and the collaboration and the impact of music making. So we went over there in October last year. I feel that this collaboration with the men in the prison has changed my view and outlook in life in general. It has made me realise this impact of social inclusion. While we're only a small project, it has made a big impact in some circles in society, with many asking us how we navigate the complexities of the Irish Prison Service and all that goes along with getting into our rehearsals every week. So after this joint collaboration, it led us on to a positive action programme in Solace. We like to include people in the organisation for diversity and inclusion. While it's not my area, in HR is not my area, I was involved in the interview panel. So we went into Mountjoy Prison and we prepared the men for interview. We helped them do a preparation for interview course and helped them, give them some tips on interviews. Then we went back and did the interviews, and 2 men were successful in the applications, and they now work as part of our team in Solace. So like Tatiana said, I went back and did a Kingstown College mentoring and coaching course myself, because I wanted to give positive feedback to the men that were mentoring in Solace, and just wanted to help them kind of grow and help them be able to do their job in Solace. So I help anytime they need me. I do phone calls. I help them online, help them whenever they need. So from August 23 until present, I've been supporting and encouraging them along the way. So one of them now has a forever home, while the other is still living in sheltered accommodation. I just spend time helping them and just spend time helping them and talking to them. And if they need me to be there to talk to them, to help them do anything, that's what I do. And they have told me that it's meant so much to me being there for them. So that for me is more, I feel like I've gotten back more than I've given out by a long shot. It's like people say I'm so helpful to others, but the thanks that I've received is just way beyond my expectations. And I definitely think I've changed and I've grown as a person in trying to help other people in this all walks of life. So that's really my story.
It's great. I always kind of have a laugh at myself at the awards. You know, every awards I seem to, well, I get very emotional very easily. And I think your speech on the night was one of my moments that pushed me over the edge and had me reaching for the hanky to dry my eyes, because it was really heartfelt. And I must also say that the work that you and Solace do was doubly recognized at the awards, because Solace won the Public Sector Organization of the Year award. So you achieved the double for them. So amazing work that you do. And I think it was really what you've just outlined. It just really drives home the point of human connection and the storytelling and just being there. Like Tatiana was saying, like everyone has said, it's being visible, being available, and almost just doing what needs to be done. You're not because it's part of your job description or not because it's part of your role, but just because it's a human need that's there, and you do it not because you have to, but because, well, you do have to, from your heart, and not to tick any boxes or anything like that. You just do it because you can, and it needs to be done. And it's why wait for someone else to do it? You know, it's great that you all kind of take up the mantle and just say, I'm doing it, rather than waiting for someone else to say, would you please? You just seem to see the need and just do it. So thank you so much to all of you for sharing. Something I wanted to come back to, Kieran, I did promise that I'd come back to you. And it's just to ask about, let me just find my notes. Your Beyond Limits program. Can you just explain a little bit more about that and how that works in Bord-na-Mona?
Yeah, so it's an employee resource group. So we have about 10 members at the moment. So we did a call out to the business to say, look, we're going setting up a disability awareness employee resource group, and would you be interested in getting involved, either if you have a disability yourself or maybe you want to be just an ally to people with disabilities. So we got loads of people back that wanted to join. So we have a committee, we meet fortnightly. We discuss all things from ICT challenges within the company. What we're doing is trying to foster and be inclusive as best we can for everybody, including new starters. So we brought in companies to do assessments on our recruitment processes to see, are they accessible, that come and look at some of our facilities and some of our public sites where we walkways and tracks and different things as part of our land and habitats business unit. And they've been looking at accessibility for people getting into public parks that we run and different things like that. We've had coffee mornings where we fundraise for care, so a charity for people with intellectual disabilities. So we've a great colleague who works in our Newbridge facility who has an intellectual disability through care. So we've partnered with them as well, and we're doing a bit of work with the Irish Guide Dogs for the Blind as well. So we've a lot going on in terms of the ERG, but different people on the ERG have brought. So we had a whole survey within our ERG to see like what organisations do we want to partner with for the year or two coming forward. And I suppose the ones that were picked ultimately were ones that people on the ERG or in the company have family members maybe with a disability in a certain area, or you know, their family or friends or people in the community that they're aware of that they're supporting these organisations as a result. So because we're a Midlands-based organisation ourselves, then Andrew, we try to partner with organisations that are in the Midlands area. So it's giving back to our community as well as an employer.
Absolutely. That's very, very powerful. It's great to hear about the power, it's great to hear about the power of ERGs. And Tatiana, I know, sorry to catch you on the hoof there. I know that you mentioned some ERGs, some very powerful ERGs that you interact with at Explio. And something you mentioned, which was very key, was getting leadership buy-in to the work of the ERGs. And I suppose what the ERGs do is it just, and the point that you've all made is the amazing impact that ERGs can have, where they just spring from that human connection, that affinity with your peers, but then can have huge impacts across the business and the wider community. And I just wondered, apart from the data that we've spoken about before, how did you achieve buy-in at Explio at the leadership level for the ERGs? Because you also mentioned having executive sponsors for each of the ERGs. So that must have been a great, not hurdle, must have been a challenge that you could foresee when setting them up.
Yeah, no, I have to say, working at Explio, they've made my life very easy. In terms of the buy-in from the management. Launched the D&I program in 2019, we had great buy-in from everybody from our, director level or senior leadership team. Everybody wanted to get involved because everybody understood, the value that it could bring to our workforce. So I suppose even just understanding the nature of our business, we don't produce a product. We're an IT consulting firm. So people are our services. So we're very heavily invested in our people, and we understand that if we want our people to do their best work, we need to create the environment in which they can flourish. And then giving them the opportunity to participate in these ERGs gives them a sense of purpose, a sense of involvement or engagement outside of their daily kind of activities. It creates a wider community within the organization. And that obviously will have a ripple effect across, from whether you want to look bottom up or top down. So I think overall it hasn't been difficult for us to achieve that buy-in. And obviously having the data helps, also having those personal stories that we touched on throughout, because I think that when you make things real by storytelling, I think that's really impactful because it puts a face to a situation or a face to, an issue or whatever it might be. And that really can communicate a message a lot more sometimes than data. So yeah, overall, I'm very fortunate in that. And also I recognize as well, the nature of the industry that I work in, it's technology. So it is very innovative, very creative. It's very forward thinking. So by virtue of that as well, you tend to have, a group of people that are probably can be, it's not a truth across industries, but can be, let's say, more open-minded. And then also, things like we have a lot of budget available to invest in these kinds of programs, when people see the value in it. So it all kind of works together to create that momentum that gets people on board, whether it be with the different groups, the different initiatives and the causes that we work towards. And then I think it's kind of like the last thing I'll say, it's like an exponential thing. So like once you do something, it grows and grows and grows. And, over the last 5 years, we've seen the participation in our D&I program just keep on growing and growing, and it's expanding, ever expanding, and things are always changing, always evolving. So it's been a fantastic journey, and I can only imagine what it'll be, in 10 years' time.
Right, thank you for that. And shout out to the Explio board for being so supportive to the ERGs. Gay, on a similar thread, I'd like to just mention that it's incredible that not your work started with, but the choir was so instrumental in your transformation and the path that you went down. It's incredible that something that's a choir is an affinity group, but how that then moved you into the D&I space is incredible. That just shows the power of, again, the human connection and doing something that might not be fall under the D&I umbrella per se, but has as Tatiana says, the ripple effect, and can have kind of unforeseen or unintended positive consequences. That's wonderful to see. And I know that Solace have many, I'm sure, have many ERGs. So can you tell me how the choir has exponentially grown or moved you into another area? Because I'm sure you're also a member of many other ERGs now.
Yeah, well, the choir started it all. We went in and we were like these middle class people going into a prison that we'd never been in, and it was really like them and us, and they were on one side and we were on the other, and we're actually afraid of each other. And it's just when you start to learn to trust and to open up and to just build the relationships and the friendships with the people, and then you stop being judgmental and you're kind of more open minded, and then you bring that into all the other areas. Like we do sign language, we do loads of other aspects. So the choir directly brought us into the positive action program, which we recruited the 2 men from prison, which was just absolutely amazing, and they're still doing absolutely great. And then the mentoring then that led on to that, which because I wanted to help them out in a positive way instead of doing any damage to them, and kind of bring them on my journey with me, and kind of, yeah, but it all started with kind of 2 groups of people and just merging, and we're just, I'd say we'd be friends forever now. So it's just amazing how one little ripple, as Tatiana said, can just throw a stone into a lake and it just creates so many ripples. And it's just been such a huge growing thing for me and the organization. And it's just, Solace is so on board with all everything we do. And it's just amazing. They kind of just say go with it and see where it goes. And it's just kind of brought to a different level. And Caroline Jones has kind of led everything in the organization, and she's just the most amazing person ever. So it's just having that backup and support that I have, and then me giving that on to the next person. So it's very humbling working in Solace, and it's just incredible. All
Yeah, you have a
they
great
do and
team
let
there.
you do. Yeah.
We had Caroline Jones on another one of these webinars in the series. I think it was the Public Sector of the Year category that she spoke on, and I do remember Andrew Brownlee, your CEO, your CEO, his speech on the stage when you won your award, and when the organization won the Public Sector of the Year award. He just was so motivational. My God, it's so motivating. It's great to hear him speak. So it was great to have that leadership backing, and as Tatiana said, it's so powerful. And
yeah, you never feel alone because of all the support you get in the organization. It's just amazing.
And that, I mean, so I suppose we're taking the conversation through to allyship now, and that brings me back to Aidan. You know, I'm sure the work that's being done at SETU with the EDI team and everything that you get back from the students themselves and your colleagues really speaks to that allyship piece.
Absolutely, because you know what's a very progressive strategy, and EDI are core values of the university. You know, strategy implementation and those type of values only work through people, and it's by developing those networks and getting the outreach and allowing people to have their voices heard and taking the time. So, I mean, SETU is engaged. We've got an LGBTQ plus network. We've got a carers network as well, amongst other networks. So I would have attended some of those network meetings as well and tried to help out and assist there where you can. But it really is that community spirit and bringing a community. And it's about creating a message, you know, okay, different people have different backgrounds and different aspirations, different challenges, you know, but we're all part of this community, okay, and we're all trying to do our bit to make it a better place. So what I find, I mean, I said it earlier, I say it again, you know, every time, you know, you get involved in any of this, it's just an opportunity to learn yourself and to say, oh, that's interesting, maybe we can use that in SETU. So I'm really interested in the networking effect, you know, and leveraging the networks. So you can take something from one person's perspective and then plug it in somewhere else, and you know, maybe creates an improvement in your own organization or in something that you're trying to do. And again, look, I work with fabulous students, many of them at executive level, working in organizations. And those kind of conversations go on in the classrooms as well, where they're learning from each other and they're sharing their experiences. And look, another things that we try and do at SETU, we're applying for the Tina Swan Award. And when you're applying for awards like that, really what you're doing is you're making a commitment that we're trying to do better, and you're using the standards in the award to improve your own standards and drive your own processes forward. So lots of good work going on, and it's just trying to understand how we can all make a contribution to help the organization achieve what it wants to achieve.
Absolutely. And yourselves, of course, and the people around you. So listen, we're up to time or approaching time, so I think I'm going to draw it to a close. But before I do, I'd just like to say a massive congratulations to you all for the amazing work that you're doing and the contributions that you're making, not only to your organizations, but also to wider society and everyone else that you impact. So thank you very much, and congratulations again. Congratulations to Gay. And I've got my own thank yous to say now. So thank you to Kira behind the scenes for keeping things running so smoothly. Thank you to Catherine, our ISL interpreter. And finally, thank you to you for watching this webinar. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew.